I think the scariest part of all of this was the day I sat down years later and realized, oh my gosh, I don't remember the sound of my own mom's voice. I mean, how awful does that sound? From that point forward, I vowed to myself and to others in my family not to let any other memories of her fade into that oblivion.
She was my youngest sister.
I was Anne-Marie's sister-in-law.
She was my youngest daughter. She was my baby.
I was her brother-in-law.
She was my aunt. She was my baby sister.
I was her eldest daughter.
She was my sister-in-law.
She was my sister-in-law, but because I knew her when she was 11 years old, it was almost like she was my little sister.
She was my first daughter-in-law, and she was the mother of my first granddaughter.
I was her youngest daughter.
Father.
I was the mother-in-law to your mother.
She kind of was my baby girl.
I guess there's like a certain loneliness to it. Kind of given the circumstances, not a lot of people really connect with you and ask you about it. So there's kind of this burden that you carry around.
It was just finding a way in life without her. It would come over you all at once without you realizing that it was going to happen.
Acceptance and that life will never be the same.
Everybody in the family grieved a little bit differently, and when you're a really close-knit family that lives close together, not everybody gets the opportunity to grieve in the way that they want.
Missing her during holidays, that's the time that I would see you guys the most, and whenever we have a holiday come, it's hard because I think of her.
It's very painful. But as time went on and the years passed, it's gotten less painful.
Accepting that you didn't always have to be strong and act like it wasn't affecting you, because that was one of my biggest issues.
One of my favorites is when she was really little and she got upset and she told us that nobody loved her, and she took her little tapestry suitcase that zipped and she stuffed it with stuffed animals, and she climbed out her bedroom window and she pretended that she was running away.
We were staying in a lodge when we were at Yellowstone, and it was my turn to get into the shower, and I grabbed onto the shower rod and it fell and collapsed, and I fell into the shower, and guess who ran in to save me? Anne-Marie. Only Anne-Marie. And we just cackled and laughed about that for years to come, because it was just, that's the way she was. Always caring, always worried about people, and it was very sweet.
She called us from Boston, where she had worked at Marshall's after graduating from the University of Connecticut, crying, saying this was a terrible job, blah, blah, blah. And I said, Anne-Marie, you're an adult, you're young, quit, and move to Maryland, which she did.
I'm playing horseshoes with your grandfather, and your mom was eating pokeberries, saying these are the worst blueberries I ever tasted. And I had to turn at her and look at her and say, Anne-Marie, they're not blueberries, they're pokeberries, and she's got all this purple juice running down her face. I said, I'd spit them out if I was you, because they are poisonous. And that was hilarious.
When you and your sister started cheerleading, she called me probably twice a week to talk about what you guys were doing and ask me questions and tell me everything that was going on at practice. And I loved that when she became a cheer mom, we had something to share.
And we went to Yukon, and we were tailgating with a bunch of friends of hers from college, and I guess maybe in high school and things like that that she had grown up with and things. So that was a lot of fun.
And she lived near us in the Boston area. I moved her, and we had a big flatbed truck, and we loaded up the stuff on the truck, and we're driving up the highway, and all of a sudden the headboard for the truck, or for the bed, flew off the truck and shattered into a million pieces on the highway.
She had forgotten her, I think it was her driver's license, and she was able to get into Canada, but without her driver's license, she wasn't able to get back into the United States. So it was like mega stressful for her, and I remember her calling Bonnie, her mom, all the time, trying to work it out. And eventually she got a copy, or maybe Bonnie mailed to her. I can't remember exactly how it went, but I'll never forget that. It was a good time. It was an awesome trip.
We were driving to school one day, and we were passing this farm, and there was this horse stuck in the mud. So after she dropped me off, she went back and called, went up to the owners and got the horse out of the mud.
She went to the University of Connecticut, which was just an hour from our house, and on Sunday afternoons I would drive her back in my old Zephyr with the 8-track tape player, playing Meatloaf, and we would be singing at the top of our lungs, Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And it was funny because Anne-Marie couldn't carry a tune.
When we first met, having sons, that your mom loved to talk, and we would spend many times in the kitchen chatting continuously.
So one night, it was just a random school night, it was a random night in the house. She had this exercising ball, and she would sit, she wanted to start this new exercising stuff, so she would sit in front of our TV in our kitchen, and she started bouncing on the ball and singing this crazy tune. She was just like, Mommy's doing her silly exercises, and just bouncing up and down on this big yoga ball. And it was the funniest thing ever.
Last day we spent together, and we just went to church. Our families. And then we stopped at the pharmacy to pick up some prescriptions and came back to our house here. Packed lunches for the kids, because we often, would go to the park with the girls, the Fitzkesslers, and then we piled into the minivan with Hazel, the dog, and off to the park we went for a picnic lunch.
Just happy.
Loving. She was a loving mother, a loving sister-in-law. Just an amazing person. I feel like she came alive when you were born.
Radiant.
Understanding. She was very understanding.
Positive. Your mother was positive, always.
Caring.
Chatty, I think. She liked to talk a lot, so I remember always hearing her voice in the background.
She was always happy.
That was easy, love.
Very go with the flow type of personality, which I unfortunately did not inherit.
Very outgoing.
Is exuberant. She just is full of energy and life, and it's always the half glass full perspective on life, and just so much fun.
Outgoing.
There are many emotions that come with the grieving process, and you just have to accept all of them and work through them. But know that there's not a right or wrong feeling that you might have.
I know that what got me through it and continues to get me through it is my faith, and I say hold on to God's hand. He'll get you through the hardest part, and He'll continue for the rest of your life. To not try to avoid the grief, but to allow the grief to happen, and no matter how it makes you feel, to let that be your experience.
Yeah, take it day by day, I think, is the best piece of advice. One day at a time.
I would say that you need to give everybody the space to do what makes them feel comfortable while they're grieving, and just kind of accept that not everybody is going to experience things the same way as you.
Faith, family, friends, rely on that, and also find somebody to talk to.
Well, everyone grieves differently, And in my mind, it's you follow your heart and you can experience the outcome moving forward.
Yeah, you have to have something to lean on, people to lean on, friends, family, faith, whatever it is that you can turn to when you're not feeling so good.
Definitely rely on family and friends to help you through times that are difficult like that. And also faith was really important for myself, and I think for certainly all of our family, because without faith and family and friends, I'm sure I would have struggled to comprehend, to deal with all that was going on.
Mine is definitely, that has gotten me through, would be gratitude and for the blessings that I have.
Let the tears flow when they want to flow, because I had a really big issue with bottling up all my emotions, and then they would seem to like come out at really bad times. And I heard that from a lot of people, but I still didn't accept it. But now I look back on it and I was like, I probably should have let myself cry every once in a while.
To do what you're doing right now, to think of all the wonderful things about your mother, think of memories, things that are dear to your heart, and when you're feeling sad, think of those times and cherish them.
Here, baby. You're gonna play?
Rachel.
There, you can do that too.
Rachel.
Here.
Ah! Rachie.
Hands are coming out. It says happy birthday.
He doesn't want
I'm gonna get her.
Okay, birthday kids.
All right, Matt,
That
you wanna
would be
come
Rachel, Emily,
Yeah.
Ian. Look over here, birthday kids.